Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. And I got a very interesting topic for you guys. This one is not related to gang stalking. It's actually to do with more with psychology and women and relationships and sexuality and this kind of stuff. And of course, my experiences. I like to share my experiences with you guys. So, my insights and the things that I have learned based on my experiences, what I have seen with my own eyes, because I think experience is the best way to learn. You can learn something from a book, from a video, you can learn many things, but if you don't apply it in real life, if you don't experience it in real life, the lesson is not going to be as strong, or you know what I mean. So basically, this is to do with it's a complicated one, but it's to do with well, basically, my experience with women as far as mind fucking goes. It's funny. It's kind of similar to gang stalking because gang stalking is basically mind fuckery. I mean, they're basically just trying to provoke you and mess with you psychologically. And I do believe that the tactics, the definitely the tactics being used in gang stalking are very feminine in nature. This is very female, dark psychology. This is like women doing what women do typically. I know there's a lot of dudes that partake in gang stalking, but it is technically a feminine tactic to mess with somebody's head and to mess with their psychology is something that women typically do because if you think about it, dudes, at least your average dude, does not typically try to mindfuck you or try to provoke you mentally or mess with your head as much. What a dude is gonna do is he's either gonna beat you up physically or threaten you. It's either threats to threaten or intimidate you, or to actually physically assault you, or physically attack you. But of course, men do also provoke. Men also do provoke other people, and there's nothing preventing a dude from using tactics of mind fuckery or to play the psychological edge or to try to get a rise out of you or something like that. Even dudes do that kind of thing, but it is typically something you see with women a lot. Um, but anyway, my point in this video is not to talk about gang stalking. It's more to do with situations where you find yourself. This is for dudes, obviously. As a dude, if you find yourself with a woman and the woman is trying to mindfuck you, what do you do and how do you react to it? And I'm going to talk about this. And the reason why it's important to talk about this is because it can dictate a lot of things, um, as far as how she's going to treat you, and as far as respect goes, and of course, as far as her attraction towards you is concerned. So, what I've basically noticed from my experience, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. There were many situations where I was straight up like mind fucked and provoked and fucking disrespected by certain women, and this was literally immediately followed up by her asking me to have sex with her, or proposing sex, or offering sex, or something of that nature. Now, this, to a lot of people, this might seem completely ridiculous because most people think this way, like, I am not going to tolerate disrespect. I am not going to tolerate disrespect from a woman. I'm not going to let a woman disrespect me. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, but guys, let's be real. Like, there is no way a dude is going to have a relationship with a woman, at least a sexual one, not a platonic one, where there would be no fighting, where there would be no provocation, where the woman is not going to try to mindfuck you, where the woman is not going to try to disrespect you or get a rise out of you. Come on, man. I mean, I've been in relationships. It happens. It happens a lot, actually. So women do this quite a lot. They mind fuck you. They try to psychologically provoke you, get a rise out of you, say something that is really nasty or mean or provocative or disrespectful or blah 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 blah, which normally would make you angry or sad or some combination of these emotions. Now, you should never, and I'm going to say this, you should never allow a woman to provoke you. Never allow a woman to provoke you. Okay? If you're dealing with a woman, it doesn't matter, even if there is nothing actually sexual or relationship wise going on between you, never let a woman provoke you. So, what does that mean? You're sitting with her and she says something disrespectful, something nasty, something mean, or whatever. Don't get angry. Don't start shouting and go completely in a rage mode and start like losing control. Because what that's gonna do is when you do that with women, she's gonna lose respect for you. Yes, she's going to lose respect for you. I know this sounds really mind-boggling. It makes no sense, right? She's disrespecting you already. But she's not disrespecting you because she has no respect for you. She's disrespecting you because she's trying to test you. I don't know if you guys know anything about the red pill, but if you guys read up on the red pill, it talks a lot about shit tests. And the shit test is basically the woman is trying to test you and test your character to see what kind of person you are, how tough you are, how mentally tough you are. Because any dude can come up to a woman and pretend to be this macho alpha dude who is really tough and strong and all these things. But how does the woman know that this is really the truth? Well, this is why women shit test. They do this shit test, and based on that reaction that you're going to give, she's going to figure out what type of person you are and how strong you are and how mentally resilient you are. Obviously, why this is important because it's ingrained in the genetics of women. It's genetically ingrained in women, in their brain, to shit test and mindfuck men. I know it sounds really crazy, but it is the truth. So, why they do it? Because women always go for the strongest branch. It's sexual selection. It's genetic determinism, if you want to call it. I don't know if you guys know anything about the black pill, but the black pill also talks about this. Talks about sexual selection and genetic determinism, which is definitely true, and it's even scientific. Women choose the strongest branch, and they need to test the man to find out if he is mentally strong or mentally weak. Because if he's mentally weak, she's just going to push him away and be like, no way, I am not interested in this guy. If he is mentally strong, then that's going to be an incentive for her to have sex with him because she wants to have his children. She wants to reproduce with him. She wants to have his genetics, his DNA, because it's a signal that he is actually strong. And like I said, women always go for the strongest branch. They're trying to select, it's sexual selection. They're selecting for the better genetics, strongest. They want to have sex with the strongest males so that their children can also be strong. Do you understand? So, yes, it might seem completely unfair to a lot of people. Why is it that women, always mind fuck men and shit test them and all this kind of stuff, provoke them and all kinds of playing mind games and kind of stuff? You hear about this all the time. Ask any dude. Has a woman ever played mind games with you? Oh boy, oh boy. They would tell you stories about that. But there is a reason for it. The reason is genetic. It's nature. It's ingrained in their nature to do something to test the man to see how mentally strong he is, how resilient, and all these things, because she wants to know whether she should be reproducing with him or not reproducing with him. Because if he is the strongest branch, then she's going to open up her legs for him and she's going to have sex with him. and then she's gonna have his children. And she knows, based on her test, she knows that this dude, this man, is the best. Well, not the best, but he is good enough that she can have children by him. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna give you some examples just to explain what I am talking about, because I know it might sound completely mind-boggling. It might not make any sense to you, especially if you have never, if you've never encountered or read anything about the red pill or the black pill. I seriously recommend that you read about the black pill and the red pill, because that's going to teach you a lot of things. I mean, there is some contradiction between the black pill and the red pill, but generally they seem to agree on a lot of things. You can always learn things from different sources. It doesn't matter, but yeah. So I'm gonna give you some examples to explain what I'm talking about, because I know it makes no sense. Um, yeah. So yeah, when on this, I was staying in Brighton, that's in the south of England, and I met this chick in a train station. I know, so random. Got into this train, and then we talked and blah 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 blah. And I said, you know what, give me your number. She was like, yeah, no problem. And then a couple days later, said, you know what, let's go for coffee. She was like, all right, no problem. And we go for coffee, and it was really interesting. She was really boring. Like, the conversations were really fucking boring. I didn't want to listen to her crap, to be honest. But at one point, she looked at me and she was like, "You piece of shit," like this. She didn't say it in a way that she was angry, but she said it in a way that was more like, she actually had like a smile on her face. She was like, "You piece of shit," you know? And then straight up after that, guess what she did? What do you think she did? I mean, I didn't react. I just looked at her like I didn't, seriously, I didn't react even. I just looked at her like, but there was like a look on my face like, I don't care. Like, I'm not bothered. I'm not fussed. I'm not phased by all of this nonsense. And guess what happened afterwards? She takes out her phone, right? She takes out her phone and shows me a GIF, like a short video of her half naked and dancing and jiggling her tits around, which was quite beautiful actually. She had really big tits, but she was I think, yeah, she was Scottish. Right, she showed me this video of her like half naked, fucking like jiggling her boobs around, and she looks at me and she says, "I'm a girl you can slap on the bum." You know what I mean? That's a straight up like a sexual invitation, basically. Another time, um, this the so okay, my father used to be married, so his ex-wife has a sister, right? And his sister, her sister, sorry, she's pretty good looking. I mean, her body's amazing, like really big tits, nice ass, a little bit tall, like quite good looking. And we're sitting in a room, me and her and my stepsister. There was my stepsister. She's like 15 years old. She was sitting there as well, and we were just sort of like talking or whatever. And then she kind of like insinuated that, like, you're not a man, you're not a real man, or something like that. Like, I think at some point she was like insinuating that I'm a woman or something like that. And I just ignored it. And I actually, when she was saying these things, I had this like, sorry guys, I had this like smirk, or like really wide smile on front of my face, that basically communicated to her like, I don't give a flying fuck what you're saying. Like, this is funny for me. Like, I am not. Uh, I am not hurt by this. I am not provoked. Whatever. But anyway, the way she was saying these bad things about me, it wasn't like in an angry tone, which would make it very genuine. It was clear that she didn't genuinely mean those things. She was literally just saying it to get under my skin. It was calculated. And you got to be careful with women. Like women can be very cold and calculated. So she said this in a very calm and sort of calculated way. Like she was deliberately trying to provoke me and get under my skin. Uh, she was just being mean spirited, basically. Like she didn't necessarily mean it. She wasn't angry. It wasn't something based on emotions. Okay. Because when a woman gets angry and starts shouting and saying nasty things, that's when you know that she really means it. That's because it's like emotional, right? It's she's in an emotional state and she really means those things. That's when people get emotional, they usually tell the truth. But when, the way she was talking, it was kind of like just trying to get a rise out of me. Like she was deliberately trying to push my buttons. But anyway, I had this wide smile on my face when I look at her, and I was like, I don't care. I thought the whole thing was funny anyway. Guess what happened, guys? Guess what happened? See, guys, when it happens to you repetitively, when it happens to you like multiple times, like one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, you start noticing that there is a pattern. And if there is a pattern, there is some truth to it, because it can't repetitively happen to you with different women. So you're in situations with different women who are trying to mindfuck you, and you react to it in a stoic kind of way. Let's put it that way. You don't get angry, you don't get emotional, you don't get upset. You're very stoic and calm. And then they offer you sex. You know what I mean? So I'm totally seeing a pattern here. Like this theory of mine cannot be false. It cannot be false because it happened to be so many times. Anyway, so yeah, so what does she do? She goes down like this and shows me her tits, because then like I could see her cleavage, and her tits were like dangling down, and I could see it. She was showing me her tits, like, look at this, you gotta enjoy this. And I did. And then she straight up went for the kill. She was like, let's go to the room. She was like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but something to the effect of, let's go to the room because I want you to fuck me. And my stepsister got really upset, like really fucking upset. She was so visibly upset. She was like, how could you say this? And that's the funny part, because when women want something, when women desire you and they have genuine desire for you, they'd be willing to cross some pretty serious boundaries. They'd be willing to do some pretty shameful things. They'd be willing to do some things that they will ignore other things. She completely forgot the fact that her niece was literally sitting there. You know what I mean? Completely forgot about that. And yeah. Other experiences. I told you guys about once when I was in the hotel and I met this English chick that just randomly came and waved at me or whatever, and then I took her to my room and blah blah blah, and we fucked. Basically, when I was with her in the room and before she took off her clothes, she looked at me and she was like, "You're a cunt." But it's so funny because as soon as she said "you're a cunt," literally was followed up, like literally split seconds. Literally followed up with her taking off her clothes and me banging her. So I'm telling you, there is definitely a pattern here that I'm seeing. Like there is something to this that I'm starting to see. Another time actually was with my father's ex-wife. Actually, funny enough. I showed her a picture of me with a face that looked pretty angry, or at least that's the emotion that I was trying to recreate in that picture. It wasn't genuine, but just a facial expression of like anger or something. And when I showed her the picture, and I said, "What is this? What do you think this emotion is? What would you say this emotion is?" This facial expression. She was like, "She is scared. She is scared." and she said it like basically disrespecting me and trying to provoke me or whatever. And I ignored it. I didn't get upset. And I said, nah, this is not a fearful expression, facial expression. This is anger. Because I was actually trying to recreate anger. So this is an angry face. But I said it very calmly, I mean, I wasn't like provoked or angry or whatever. And then I noticed every time I would meet her the next time, every time I would come to the house and meet her, she'd be like touching me. She would do anything, any excuse to touch my hands. She'd be touching my hands or rubbing my hands, rubbing my arms, giving me like really sexual looks. Like she would, like pursing her lips and biting her lips. She'd be like, and just all kinds of like sexual stuff like that. And then one day, after a couple of days, I guess like the sexual tension kind of increased so much that I met her in the kitchen, and she was doing something with some cookies or something like that, and she looked at me and she was like, "Please fuck me, please." You know what I mean? I was like, man, this can't be happening. It felt like Christmas, you know what I mean? I just love these things when they happen. It's like unwrapping a Christmas cake, a Christmas what do you call it? A Christmas gift. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I didn't do it. I didn't actually have sex with her because it's like my father's ex-wife, right? Even though I have problems with my family because of the family involvement in gang stalking and all that, but I still wouldn't do that, just because. But anyway, so I've noticed this many times, and it really does seem to happen a lot of times. And this is basically something that women do. This whole, like I said, you can call it, according to, I mean, the red pill terminology would be shit test, but you can call it mind fucking. It's the same thing, basically. When you're dealing with a woman that's trying to get a rise out of you, provoke you, mind fuck you, shit test you, all of these things, you have to be like a rock. Like a rock. You have to take it. You have to take it. You have to deal with it. You can't allow yourself to get provoked and lose control and start raging and getting angry and, shouting or showing some kind of emotional reaction, because when you do, she's gonna lose respect for you. And of course, like I said, this whole methods used by women with mindfuckery is basically to weed out the beta males. She wants to tell, are you an alpha male or are you a beta male? This is what she wants to know. Are you alpha or are you beta? Because the alpha, even if he does put her in her place, so to speak, he might say, hey, you know what? You shouldn't be saying that to me. But he's gonna do it in a very calm way. He's gonna set boundaries. He's gonna say, don't disrespect me. Don't say these things. If you keep doing it, this is gonna happen. Some kind of ultimatum or punishment or whatever. Sort of like when you're dealing with a child, right? But he's not gonna get provoked. He's not gonna lose control of his emotions. But a beta male would. A beta male is gonna get angry and they start shouting and blah blah, and then they, and they fall for it. And women enjoy this. Women enjoy this. Women love to mindfuck men and play these silly games. They get a rise out of it. They enjoy it so much. When they see that beta male shouting and getting angry in her face, and she's like, haha, sucker, you fell for it. This is how women think. Sucker, you fell for it. I got a rise out of you. I got you to be provoked. I control you now. You're my bitch. This is basically how women think. And it's like, now I control you. And she knows that he's so emotionally weak that she can control him. She can, anytime she wants to push his button, she can do that. And then they get into fights, and there's fights, and all sorts of stuff happens, and you know what. So, yeah, so it's basically like, it's like sexual selection. Basically sexual selection. Women are doing this. They're not doing this just out of the blue. I mean, it is mean-spirited. It is very mean-spirited. And I don't even think that women necessarily do it consciously. I think it's an unconscious process. But it's not being done without a reason. The reason is very important. She needs to know, is this man strong or weak? Is he mentally strong? Is he tough? Is he mentally resilient? Can he handle all the problems that he's going to have to face in life? Should I actually reproduce with him? Should I open my legs for him? Should I have children from him? Should I have his lineage? Should I have his DNA, his genetics? Are these strong genetics? Are these weak genetics? You know what I mean? So this is actually very important for women. So this whole thing about being shit tested and mind fucked, you know, if you're a strong individual, I actually recommend this for you guys in general. I mean, not just with women, but in general. Don't allow people to get a rise out of you. Don't allow people to anger you. Don't allow people to provoke you. Because when you get provoked and you get angry and all these things, you are the one losing control. The person who's provoking you is basically doing this to control you. They're trying to assert some kind of control over you. They know that now they can just push your buttons whenever they want. So it doesn't benefit you in any way. You know, when something serious happens and there is an actual fight and you have to physically fight over something or for some reason, that's a whole other situation. You know, then you can get angry and you can rage, and that's going to be very helpful actually. If you're trying to beat somebody up, like you need to be not enraged, but you need to be angry, right? But if it's just words, if it's just psychological mind tricks or mind games or some bullshit that somebody's saying to get a rise out of you, don't allow them to provoke you. Don't allow them to get a rise out of you. But it works. I mean, I've seen it so many times with women. I'm just surprised that people don't know about this. I mean, some people do, especially people who follow red pill. But you know, it does work. And actually, I have another story. I just remembered. There was this. I was staying at a hospital once. You know, guys, like with gang stalking and all that. Sometimes I end up in the hospital. It happens to me, and basically, there was this psychologist that worked there, and from the couple of interactions that I had with her in the beginning, I don't know. She said some nasty things about me or something like that. Something kind of disrespectful. But I didn't let it get to me. I didn't really get angry. I didn't really show any emotions. I didn't really care, and you know, just kept meeting her once in a while, just regularly. And I started noticing things like her behavior with me changed a lot. It became much more sexual, very sexual, and she was starting to send me some pretty sexual signals. And there was actually a really strong one that she did, a couple of strong ones. I was sitting in like a group therapy session, and she was facing someone else, and then she was sitting down. She turned her chair in my direction, right? And she started facing me, and then she opened her legs. Like her legs were closed, right? Crossed or closed. And then as soon as she turned in my direction, she was like, ding. You know, she opened her legs completely. In a pretty obvious way. I was actually surprised that she did that in front of everybody. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I picked up on it, but I don't know if other people saw it or not, but still, it was weird that she did that, like, in a group session, no less. So I was like, wow, man. And yeah, of course, I mean, when women do that sign to you, open their legs, that's a pretty big sign. That's like, you know, DTF, go all the way. And then as I was exiting we went through the group session, and then as I was leaving the group session, and I was giving back, you have to like sign the papers or whatever for attendance. And she looked at me, and she was like starting to play with her hair, and she looked at me like this, so sexual. She was like, You know how women do that? They take both of their hands because I'm holding I'm holding the camera, so she was like with both hands playing with her hair like this, you know. I was like, man, this is straight out of a movie, man. Unreal. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And yeah, after that, she called me once to have a chat about some bullshit, and there was this like gleam in her eyes. There was this like glaze or gleam in her eyes. Like she was, you know, like candy eyes. I don't know how to explain it. They're like there were stars in her eyes or something. You know what I mean? Like the way she was looking at me was like she was really, really attracted. But anyways, this is I don't know if I'm getting the point across, but as far as all this shit testing and mindfuckery, people trying to provoke you, but not specific people, but sorry, I mean specifically women. If women are trying to mindfuck you or provoke you or get a rise out of you or play psychological tricks or mind games, don't let it get you. Don't react emotionally. Don't get provoked. Blah 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 blah. You know, just stay calm. Say what you have to say, and you're gonna see the result is gonna be amazing. Like, she's gonna respect you, and it's also likely if she has some sexual attraction for you, of course, that is gonna lead to some sexual outcomes. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.